All right, morning, evening, afternoon, all. I'm joined back again by Brian Maguire, who's kindly taken some time out of his desperation day. He's informed me before this that he's just out of the shower. He must be getting ready for a big day tomorrow for Valentine's Day. B-Match, how you doing?
Yeah, very good, Goose. Yeah, or Mark as well. I'll stay formal for the evening. Desperation Day, of course. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, what would the women be interested in listening to more the day before I take them out than a golf podcast? Like, what could possibly revolt more women than listening to me talking about golf? So, yeah, that's what I've gone for. Hopefully, it'll guarantee that I have no takers tomorrow evening.
Oh,
So yeah,
I don't know about that. You've been hitting the gym pretty hard. You've been looking forward to Valentine's Day for the last like 12 months, the last 364 days.
I've been looking forward to this day with you for the last few months, Gazer. That's what's been keeping me going. I've been treating you
Uh,
mean and keeping you keen here by not not saying I was available, but I'm ready to rock now. Yeah,
Yeah, you just had to wait for Tiger Woods to say that he's playing another PGA Tour event. And then you're like, oh, this is the time to jump on. Let's get the two
yeah,
big
yeah,
dogs
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Any plans for tomorrow, B-Match?
No plans, no plans. I'm afraid, but you never
So,
know, sure.
just to give people a background, so myself and B-Match play GA football together, and we have training tomorrow evening. So if I don't see you training tomorrow evening, B-Match,
It'll be sus. Yeah,
I'm gonna be
yeah,
singing the alarm bells around the club.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. All right, B-Match. Let's talk a little bit of golf.
Talk business. Yeah.
Let's talk business. Let's start revolting some women. Scottie to hottie might be the hottest man in one of the hottest men in golf right now, and I don't mean from a aesthetic standpoint. He's after winning for the fifth time in the last 12 months. What did you make? Did you watch the golf first of all last night,
I
B-Match?
did, yeah. Yeah, I watched it, yeah. Well, as we've already said, I don't know, you retweeted the tweet about I don't know who said it was about Michael Murphy retiring from Donegal has has had a great influence on Scotty, and that was such a good tweet. But yeah, he won it in a very professional manner. Like he just I just thought he got a few pieces of luck, not to go into detail too much. Like he got a few nice bounces and stuff like that, but you earn your luck, and he definitely won it in a good fashion. Um, yeah.
Mm.
What did you think of it?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I was so impressed because all week he had Ram, the Raminator, chasing him down, like coming
Yeah.
after him every single round. And Scotty just played his own game, played his own ball. I thought the way he scrambled his driving yesterday wasn't the best. He only hit
Mm,
6 out of 14 fairways. He had left a lot of time, and he still managed to get up and down from a lot of places. He's up and down at 16, dubious as it was with that drop alongside the stand. But anyways, we'll move on for a minute.
yeah.
The way he made that, whatever it was, 16-footer coming back, I just thought, I think he was helped as well by the fact that Nick Taylor didn't. Nick Taylor applied pressure for the first 15 holes and then kind of let him
Mm.
go. But yeah, really, really impressed by the way Scotty handled himself. And now he's back to world number one, overtook Rory McIlroy.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, he's definitely in the elite category. Like, and to be honest, I'd only say there's like Ram is in it as well, but it really is like when you're talking about boys who everybody fears, like properly fears in the coming up the backstretch. Like I think it really is just it's Rory and Scheffler. Like I know you have Ram who is dangerous, and when he gets ahead of steam up, and you can feel him breathing down your neck, like he definitely is one. But the two elite players, I think, still are Rory and Scheffler. Like, and as much as Ram
Yeah,
likes to boast about his form and stuff, I think they're still the two main men.
yeah. Well, actually, here was the first question I was going to put to you. John Ram, Rory McIlroy, they're top. Well, they were top two. They're top two players. Were the top two players in golf before last week. Scotty Scheffler now goes to number one. Who actually ranked those three in terms of the three hottest players in golf right now? I was going to do
Uh,
just Rory McIlroy and John Ram, but I get the feeling you have a little bit of love for Scotty Scheffler in there.
Yeah, me, you, and Dermo always like the phrase "Scotty so hot." He literally got us through all of last year. But yeah, no, I think Scotty is ahead of Ram as well, to be honest. But yeah, there's no doubt in Ram's credentials and stuff, and he is a winner. But I think that them two boys are the elite. Especially like you're looking at back and like we'll see over the Ryder Cup as well. Obviously, Ram's a great Ryder Cup player, but like Scotty will take some talking to in the Ryder Cup this year. Like the wins he has two in obviously the Phoenix, it's won that twice. That's a fairly hostile atmosphere, and his match play win just will make him very hard to talk to. So like obviously, who would you pair Ram with? You're not gonna pair him with Rory or anything like that. Who would you pair? Who would you pair Scotty with even? Um, he's definitely a type of fella you could put with anyone, and I think he'd go quite well with them.
He went with Bryson in the last one, didn't he? Or am I think he went with Bryson in the last one. And then he defeated. See, the mad thing about Scotty was he was like number 12 in the roster for the USA team, and then in the final day he was up against world number 1 or world number 2 at the time, John Ram, the hottest player for Team Europe, and he managed to take down the Raminator on Sunday. And like, I think like when we think about it, since that day, Scotty's just shaped to become this incredible golfer with mental fortitude. And like Rick Gaiman tweeted this out last night, out of the 13 strongest fields over the last 12 months, Scottie Scheffler has now won 12 of them, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's mad. And if you think about it as well, like when he's won, especially the Masters, he had a swagger about him that he just oozed confidence. Like there was no doubt in the Masters. I know Rory put on a bit of a Rory classic just to make him sweat a bit and just went hot out of nowhere. But he was there was no beating him, especially like he didn't sweat for a second. Obviously helps having a great caddy, but I do definitely think he's just slightly ahead of Ram, to be honest.
Oh, I think we're going to disagree on this one. So I've been ranking them as per the Mark Fox World Golf Rankings, which everybody seems to be doing.
Are
at
we
the
going
moment.
for the top 5 already? Do you want to go?
No. Oh God,
Okay.
man, you're spoiling this already.
What about the Tuesday trivia? Is there Tuesday trivia here?
Shit. Oh no! Wait, I actually did have a good one. Okay, wait, I will come back to it in a second. Who are the range goats? No, we'll come to that later. We're coming to that later. Don't worry. All right, based on these 3 players, right now, it's going to be Ram. It's going to be Ram, McIlroy, Scheffler. And I'm only touching on this now because I think Scheffler, the one thing, and maybe I overemphasize it, but I would rather a guy get 5 wins in 20 starts and have 10 missed cuts in there than a lad have 19 top 10s and just 1 win from 20 starts. And my only issue with Scotty over the last like few months since the Masters is he hasn't got a win, and just Ram and Rory right now are just that little bit more hotter. And the reason, actually, I'll touch on why I'm picking Ram over Rory a little bit later in the show, but that's the way I'd rate them as per now.
That's definitely a statement and a half.
I know. So yeah, we can touch on this in another few minutes because
for sure.
We have one or two other things here to touch on. All right, I want to just briefly mention this because I heard it spoken about a little bit on No Lay No podcast last night as well. Some of these drops that are being given to players are like a disgrace and a farce. Like this drop that Xander got on Saturday, the drop that Scottie got on Sunday. Like, I'm not blaming Scottie for that drop, but that stand needs to be another 4 or 5 yards out. I don't like the stand being right on top of players. The one that Reed got at the Dubai Desert Classic when the ball was apparently in the tree. Like, I'm gonna start needing to call like the club pro at my monthly medals from now on when I can't find my ball and I was getting him to come out. Darren from Headford coming out looking for
they're the exact type of drops where literally what you were saying there, whereas if let's say 40s were playing around and one of the boys took a drop and you are having points after, and let's say your man's gone off, you're saying, what the fuck was he doing? Excuse my language. What was he doing taking that drop there? Like, you're saying to the other boys, and they're like, yeah, oh, here, leave him at it. Like, but I suppose in terms of Reed, in
you can
terms
go
of
to town
Reed's
to Reed
one,
on Reed, by the way, if you want.
yeah, it was just vintage Reed, to be honest. And I suppose, like, what could your man do but take his word that he did say? Your man asked him so many times, is this your ball? Are you sure that's your markings and stuff like that? And so, like, there's not a lot that the referee, I suppose we'll call him, could do about it, to be honest. And I suppose Reed was just so determined to beat Rory, like, that he was doing everything he could to win. Yeah.
We're calling him the referee. So the referee threw in the ball 3 hours earlier, and 3 hours later,
yeah,
there's the ball stuck in a tree. No, it's madness. I was actually here's a good one for you. Actually, wasn't planning on talking about this, but I was at the Dubai Desert Classic. We were there on so I was there on Monday, and Rory's due to tee off at 9:25 a.m. and he arrives at the driving range at 8:30. There's only 60 or 70 people there because it's a Monday finish, and Rory's on driving range. He does 35-40 minutes, and he goes to the putting green, and there's maybe only 10 or 15 people at the putting green, and I'm one of them. And Rory's there practicing his putts with his back to the crowd, and he turns around and he does a 180-degree view of the crowd, and he glances at me, and his eyes just land on me, and I'm like, what the fuck is he looking at me for? And he gives me a nod, and I'm like, what? Okay, so I give him a nod back, and then he starts nodding ferociously at me, and I'm like, what is he nodding at me for? Like, he must think he knows me or something. So I start nodding ferociously back, and he gives me a thumbs up. And me, from about 15 feet away, I just like slowly raise my thumb, and I go, good luck, Rory. Like that. The most stupid, idiotic thing I've ever done. Yeah. And Rory looks at me, and he puts his head back to putting. I'm sweating. It's 24 degrees, and people are looking at me, thinking I know Rory McIlroy. And I put my head down, pick up my bag, and I'm like, right, get to the first tee. This will be grand. Put my head down, put my bag over my shoulder, turn around. His fucking wife, Erica, is standing right behind me. So for the last 2 minutes, I thought I was interacting with Rory McIlroy, the world number one. And it didn't play out like that. But maybe someday I'll get around to having him on the podcast.
We've all been there. Yeah.
The pits. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's sorry, just getting back to the point. The drops that some players are receiving nowadays are a bit of a joke. Right, here's my fourth takeaway from the Waste Management Phoenix Open. You give me your opinion first. Are you concerned about Justin Thomas right now with his state of golf and the way he goes about week to week?
Well, Gooser, I actually remember on the last pod, you might remember or not, I did say that he is the type of fella who'll just come out of nowhere. The only way he can win, I think, is when he comes from the pack out of nowhere and just is the clubhouse leader. Like, and you seen it again yesterday. He was an eye catcher, I suppose you could say, that he finished really strongly when there was no pressure on him and no one was looking at him. Like, it is. If you're talking about he's one of the top 5 players in the world, he mightn't be in yours. He actually probably was in mine. He was in mine, actually. Like, it's not really looking good for him, like bones in the bag and everything. Like, he was definitely looking at winning a big one this year again. But yeah, it's I'm not sure what to think of him at all, to be honest. I actually have, I've given you my opinion on him, and that's not going to change, but I want to see him winning from the front. If he wants to progress this year, he has to, like, I'd love to see him leading the first round and win a whole tournament then, but I don't think he has it in him at all.
I'm quickly checking here. The last 4 times he's been in the top 3, entering in the final round, and he's been in the top 3. He has not won any of them. Now, but the thing is, I get what you're saying, but before this, he actually won 12 tournaments from being in top 2 of the leaderboard entering the weekend. So, like, he does.
Yeah, I well believe that because, like, he is, like, he's an elite player. Like he's one of the top dogs. He should be winning like that, but I just haven't seen it from him in a while. And I just noticed when he did win, he was just coming from nowhere and winning. And like when he's in contention, like suddenly the putter just goes cold and he's whining and he's whinging to himself and he's a sour face. And he can just be difficult.
Yeah, I was going through a few of the numbers here on Data Golf earlier. Like 2020, he won 3 times. 2019, he only won once. 2018, he won 3 times. 2017, he won 5 times. And now over the last 2.5 seasons or whatever we've gone so far, he's only won twice. Granted that it's been the Players and the PGA Championship, but you're just waiting for him to start turning the hustle a little bit and getting it done. He's not getting it. And like the other example I give is he's had 8 top 5s in 2022, as in last year, and only 1 win. Compared to 2017, he had 8 top 5s in 23 starts and had 5 wins. So 1 win versus 5 wins, like just not getting over the line. As well as that, so far this year, it's been his worst year with his irons since 2015. So I'm out on Justin Thomas. I see people keep going back to the well every single week, betting him at 22, 25 to 1. And fair enough, there is going to come a stage where he will win at a number like that if people keep betting it. But I can't keep flogging a dead horse. And to me, Justin Thomas is a dead horse, side of the road. Not for me. I'm moving on, getting on with life.
Yeah, like it's definitely like it's a thing that you're saying where it's psychological, where you're looking at young golfers who haven't experienced losses and bad beats as much as let's say we'll call them the golfers in their 30s and late 20s. And like JT at the start of his career, you see all them wins, and now that he's experienced a few different things, it's definitely had an effect on him, because he's definitely not the same player as he was in terms of winning wise. Even at the Masters last year, he knew how heavily fancied he was going into that. And he fluffed his lines in the first round, and then Rory-esque, he had brilliant competition the last 3 rounds, and then you could say, if he can go looking at it as, if I had a good first round, I probably would have won, but like you didn't. So yeah, no.
All right, are we?
You can make a lot. Yeah, go.
We're blacklisting JT for like the next few weeks until he does something spectacular, and we're not betting him, no matter what.
Yeah. I'll make a comment about him when we talk about the Genesis. I'll make an argument for him actually later, just for the reason why you could. But yeah, he's definitely not at the start of a week bet. He's a chase and pack bet. Yeah.
The only time we will consider him is if he's like 28 to 1 at the Players, or 28 or 30 to 1 at the Masters, or one of the majors. Yeah. That's the one.
When it's too big. Yeah, that's fair, because he has won big events. So yeah.
All right, here's my next question from the Waste Management Phoenix Open. 18 minutes through this podcast. This was the first elevated event on the PGA Tour. I'm not sure if you knew that or what, but it meant that 23 out of the top 24 players that were available to play played in this event. I know the money's bigger, but apart from the money, did this make any difference to your viewing of the event?
Yeah, well, like, elevated events are a no-brainer if you think about it. Like, there's like more cash, more better fields, better leaderboards at the ends, better quality of golf towards the end of the tournament when they're under pressure. Like, was it in Europe, the European Tour? It probably wasn't actually in Europe, but last week on Sunday there was a load of them double bogeyed and bogeyed the last hole. Like, none of them wanted to win. Like, it was pathetic stuff. I was sat there on the couch on a Sunday morning saying, this is awful. Fucking hell. I think the winner doubled the last 5-7. I played from the last few holes, and like, none of them wanted to win it. Like, they should have just shared it between them. But yeah, like, apart from, I actually did. I looked at the start of the year at the elevated events, because it obviously came through, and like, it's a great idea, and obviously it's a response to Live. One thing I'd say, I did look at one of them that I wasn't impressed was that RBC Heritage is an elevated event. Like I was just thinking to myself, like, some say like DJ, he left for Live just so he'd get out of playing the RBC Heritage every year. Like it was just awful stuff. Like then when he arrived at Live and they gave him the big check, he's like, "What is this check? Like, what is this for? Like, I don't want the money. Just make sure the RBC fire me. I do not want to
Get
play a
this
week after the
sponsor off
Masters."
my sleeve.
Yeah. Oh my God. Awful stuff. Like that was, and then like that has you thinking then like what other boys going to
We're
Live
gonna
and
have
stuff
to
like
see.
that.
We're gonna have to watch Kevin Kisner win 3.5 million at the RBC Heritage with
Yeah,
Webb
yeah.
Simpson coming in second.
Some of the I actually looked up the leaderboards there earlier, some of the past winners and stuff like that, and it really is quite pathetic. Like like you have Wesley Bryan winning it, like Pan Cheng Chung, Satoshi Kodara, like it's awful stuff. Like Stuart Sink winning it, and second was Grillo and Harold Vanner the third. Like awful.
McDowell won it in 2013.
Yeah,
G-Man. God,
yeah.
that speaks. God, maybe RBC Heritage is like a foundation fund for Live Golf. They just try to take
Because I was seeing Harold Varner was second in it, Answer was second in it. Like, do they just go there and recruit depressed fellas who are after playing 72 holes at the RBC and say, "Listen, I can promise you a lot of cash, but more so, you'll never have to play here ever again." You know?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. No, you're on the right track. If Live Golf are looking for a new chief operations officer or brand officer, Brian Maguire is actually looking for work right now. So get in touch.
Yeah. Slow, and then you have the RBC Canadian Open, which we won't talk about at all, because that would just...
That's there for Roy to win. That's the only reason that's an elevated event.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give my 2 cents here. So the elevated events, and the only reason I'm asking this question was because this was also brought up in No Laying Up, and they were asking about they were kind of giving out saying that the elevated event didn't make any difference to the viewing or whatever. My pushback on that is this only made for bad viewing because Scottie Scheffler ran away with it. He won by 5 shots over John Rahm. Nick Taylor applied a little bit of pressure, but let's say Scottie Scheffler comes back to the pack and he wins it -14 in a playoff or -15. Then you have like John Rahm within 1 shot, Justin Thomas within 2 shots, Jason Day 3 shots, and then like Sung Jae, Tyrrell, Sam Burns, and Jordan Spieth pile on. Like, and my point is that the only reason this didn't make for good viewing was because of the fact that Scottie just ran away with it. And Scottie did get literally too hotty for J-Mon and his plans. But yeah, no, it's
well, you want to argue that if the boys saying it's not a good idea. Look at the Masters last year. Like Scottie won that by 3, bet Rory by 3, who was well finished. Next was Lowry, Smith on 5, and Morikawa on 4. Like he bet them by 5 or 6 shots. Like you can say that with any, like when the best players in the world are on it, like people, no one else can compete with them. He just happened to turn up this week. You could argue as well. Like, so
yeah,
what are you going to do about it? What would you rather have, like 5 or 6 lads not there and him win by the same amount? You'd still be complaining. So I think there's nothing wrong with having it. Like,
yeah, but like I tell you, like I tweeted out last week that I hadn't been, like, from Monday to Thursday, I hadn't been that excited for a golf event outside of the majors, the players, and Live Miami, which was a fair representation of my feelings. But like, it was just the excitement building all week, and you saw it on Twitter, and people were talking about it all week, who they were like betting or plans or side stories or whatever. And it's just, we don't get that for the PGA Tour event. So I don't think it was the best elevated event that they could have had, like in terms of the closing stretch, but honestly, I think it's just a way forward for the PGA Tour.
Oh, definitely. Like, you want to see the best players playing as much as possible, and if you compact them onto the same field 17 times a year, like that's as good as you can get. Like, because you obviously don't want to do it for every week. Don't want to make it like that. But I think it's 17 really good events, and you have 4 majors. Like, there's not a lot more you can ask for. I think it's quite fair. Is it
16 really good events in the RBC Heritage.
Oh yeah,
you forgot that.
For the live guys.
All right, okay. While we're on the topic of the best players in the world, let's move on to. I asked BMatch to create a list of his top 5 players in the world right now, in the world of golf. And I made mine as well. You can include live players, you can include whoever you want. Give me your. All right, let's just go 1 by 1, 2 by 2, whatever. Number 1, BMatch.
I actually don't have any live players. I forgot about the live lads, actually. Yeah, okay, that's grand. So, yeah, so I'll just say my number 1 is Rory. I'm probably biased to him, but I'm sticking with him.
Yeah, okay. My number 1 is Jon Rahm. Okay, who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Sheffy. Scottie.
All right, my number 2 is Rahm. I can't believe you're leaving Rahm out number 2, but
I know.
Oh God, we'll
we'll
to
debate it now in a minute. We can have a good old fashioned. Yeah, okay.
Right,
then my 3 is Rahm. Is yours, Chef? Mine's Rahm. Then yeah. So yeah. Okay.
All right, number 4.
I think you have to pick Xander, to be honest. If you're going on form the last 6 months, like he's clear, like, so yeah, Xander.
Okay, my 4 is Finau.
Fair, yeah.
Who's your 5?
My 5, like I only have him 5th just on name. It's not on form, and just on like who would lads fear. Like it was JT. Like just okay. On. I know he still has a bit of hype about him, so yeah, I still have him 5th.
All right, my 5 was Joe Sheridan. I think
lads,
lads absolutely fear Joe Sheridan coming down the stretch.
Listen, if you haven't played with Big Joe in Scramble, you really haven't experienced life to the full. I'd encourage everyone to get onto him as a Scramble partner. He's a clutch putter.
My 5 was Xander.
Yeah, nice.
All right, hey, let me just point this out, because the big debate all week has been Rahm or McIlroy, who's the best player in the world. And I think this week I've answered the question for me was Rory's obviously biggest strength is his driver. So like and Rahm's biggest strength is probably his irons play, I'd say. But my favorite Rory is that when he's not hitting fairways and when the driver's not on, he doesn't shoot the best numbers. Like in round 1, he hit 6 out of 14 fairways. He shot +2. Round 4, he hit 8 out of 14 fairways, shot 1 under. Compared to Rahm, who hit 8 out of 14 fairways on Sunday and shot -3. And comparing like with like, both McIlroy and Rahm hit 6 out of 14 fairways in 1 round. Rahm shot -3 and Roy shot +2. And my takeaway is just like, when I was looking at Roy this week, it just looked like he was scrambling hard just to make things happen, get over the line. Compared to Rahm, he can shape the ball. Like, he's not just a fader of the ball. He can do it both directions. And even yesterday, that I don't know the hole. It could have been around 6 or 7 when he drove it left and had to pitch out, and he gets up and down from 90 yards. That to me is just why Rahm is just a little bit more ahead of Rory.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at Scheffler.
I'm not. I'm actually just trying to. I'm just gonna go. I was just gonna go through the Waste Management Leaderboard 2022. Like, is this a spot for Rory? Like, he did say the place doesn't really fit his eye.
No, this is. I think this is McIlroy's first ever time playing this event.
Exactly. Like, it's, you say it's an elevated event. Like, Rory wouldn't have came here. He's forced to come here. Like, he's clearly not up to scratch. I know he won in Dubai, but you know, I think I wouldn't be worrying about Rory this week. I wouldn't say he was bothered playing. I'm surprised he made the cut, to be honest. I'd say I'd actually have a bigger chance for him next week if he missed the cut.
I completely agree. Actually, it was his second time playing here. He finished T32 this week, and he finished T13 back in 2021. So I absolutely get all that. Just the one thing that stuck out to me about Rahm this week is how, like, even yesterday he didn't play good golf. Like, he didn't play great golf and still shot 3 under while he was in the hunt. Like, That's just my takeaway. All right, give me, who's your number 4 or 5? JT. Okay.
JT, yeah. Listen, that was more of a than form. It was more of a name just to keep in my top 5. And also, like, you have to consider, I think, when you're talking about top 5 players in the world, I know you can have your data golf rankings and you can have your world rankings and stuff like that, but you have to consider who everyone else fears when they're close to the top of the leaderboard and stuff like that. And like, is it Finau or is it JT? That's why, because you're arguing over winners and stuff. I know Finau won twice last year and stuff like that, but and also, if we're going to talk between Ram and Rory, like, the pressure Rory is under versus Ram is chalk and cheese. Like, everyone lifts their game for Rory. Ram's still not at the space where, I know last year there was definitely people like Ram carried 2 years ago or whatever. He carried the Ryder Cup and stuff like that. Some of the putts he was making and stuff, and Rory didn't play well. Obviously, he was playing with Poulter, doesn't help. But yeah, I just think I do think that there is still quite a gap between them. Just in terms of everything Rory has to deal with, apart from the golfing side of things as well. Like, he's critiqued a lot harder. And I have a question for you now in a minute. Well, we're on Ram, so I'm just going to ask you it now, because we both have Xander in our top 5s. Like, if Xander was I know he didn't win as much and stuff like that. Well, he did win. He won quite a lot last year as well. He probably won 3 times, did he? If he was as bullish as Ram was in the media about world golf rankings, would people have been talking about him more? Would people have noticed his form more? There's a lot of people who are still sleeping on, like, how ridiculously good he was last year. Like,
100%. All right. Good question. I think people realize how good Xander is.
You could say they realize it without talking about it, though. You know what I mean?
No, I tell you what the thing is. The thing is, people realize how good Xander is, but Ram and Rory, and I suppose you could put Scheffler in that category now, are just so much better than, like, those 3 players are so much better than the rest of the golfers right now, that everybody focuses on them. And they're like the
elite 3, yeah.
They're the elite 3, and people like Finau and Xander, they're putting like Division 2 kind of, so people don't give them the respect or take as much notice of their rankings. But like Xander, like won twice in 2 weeks, won the Travelers, won the Genesis Scottish Open, T15 at the Open Championship, and like his last 7 starts, T3 4th, T9 4th, T3 T13 T10, like, that's unbelievable. That's 7 top 13s in a row.
Since he missed the cut at the Masters, he's finished outside the top 20 once. Well, he withdrew once. I won't count that one. Was the FedEx, and that didn't matter because he was already through. So if you think about it like that, like, that's outside the top 20 like that. Like, if anyone else, if the other 3 boys were doing that, it would have been mentioned about in tweets a lot more. You can also say he's got top 3s, top 4s and stuff when he hasn't won maybe as much, but it's very hard to win, obviously. He's had a good of a year that he could possibly have hoped for, definitely. Like,
so are you putting Finau doesn't make your top 5?
No, he doesn't. And I like Tony the Tiger.
You do like Tony the Tiger.
T4 Tony.
God, you must be desperate to revolt women for tomorrow night, are you?
Yeah. Like, Tony is an active tiger in the women's circles, I'm sure. Like, but yeah, no, he's just not in my T5. He's just not. He doesn't have the fear factor about him. That's what I just think the other 5 have above him, and they're all great golfers. They're all unbelievable golfers in the top 10 and top 20. But, like, Max Homa has a bigger fear factor than Tony Finau at the minute. Like, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Max Homa's like won something like 4 out of 5 times in the final round when he's been in the lead. Like,
when he's there, he wins. Like, it's sensational. Like, I suppose it's the coolness about him, the aura he has, that he's just so good in that position. Like, he's
Yeah.
I think it definitely his aura helps, and you know the way he's just such a funny, likable fella. It just adds to it all. But I suppose at the same time, there's a lot of people in sports who are such funny and likable fellas that it actually takes away from how they compete. They're too nice to win, you know.
Yeah.
They're you know what I mean. He
That's
has ruthlessness in him too.
yeah. That's not really like I heard somebody talking about this on Twitter last week. Like that was not really Scottie Scheffler's issue. It was like he was asked last week, "How do you feel about not being world number one?" And he just passed off like, "Oh, I don't really care." And yeah, I don't know, but sorry, getting back to the point, Max Homa is like sort of like assassin right now. Like when he's in the lead, there's no stopping him, and he could be the person that everybody thinks like, I don't want to say Ram because Ram's actually good in the lead, but he could be the person that everybody thinks Rory is early with the 54 hole lead, and he just goes and gets it done.
Yeah, I suppose if you had like stats and it had a blank name, it had no name, but you had the stats and you had to say who is this golfer. You could definitely mistake it for someone like Rory if you weren't following it, I suppose. Yeah.
Enter someone like a blank name and you put stats them entering the final round.
Yeah.
Who's this player that goes on to win? Max Homa is like
exactly. Yeah.
Honestly, he could be like top three.
He's a clutch kid. He's a clutch boy. That guy, you know. He's he's got the swagger. Yeah.
All right, here let's move across the pond to the internet. All right, we had another tournament, the International Open of Oman.
Yes, which I didn't follow, but I looked at your stats about it, and it was just grand. Like, but we'll talk about it for a few minutes.
Yeah, Takumi Kanaya, 24 years of age, won. This is on. Oh God, I think is this a Japanese tour or the Asian tour or one of those? But right, bear with me while I find out. And my big takeaway from this is fair play. Takumi Kanaya got it done, but the live players in this T5 for Joaquin Neiman, T11 for Mito Pereira, T13 Jason Kokrak. Then a missed cut for Louis Oosthuizen and a missed cut for Brooks Koepka. Now, the one I'm most surprised about is Brooks Koepka, who's like, he shot 74-78 to miss the cut by 2 shots 2 years after winning the Waste Management Phoenix Open. And for a man who's multiple majors in his back pocket, he used to be world number one, and now he's like competing in shitty little tournaments like this, and he's not even making the cut. Yeah. Unreal, the downfall. It's like Macbeth.
Yeah, it is a fall from grace, definitely. It just goes to show it's all in your head and stuff like that. Like when you're not competing regularly, like he is such a winner as well. Like when he was on the cut line, I'd say he kind of did say to himself, like, "Oh, jeez, couldn't really be arsed making the cut here, definitely." But I'm pretty sure I heard at the start of the year him blabbering on about how his body had never been in better condition, and like,
yeah. Do you remember last year when he
go back on the Mackie D's or something if that's the case there, because you being in good shape and.
Do you remember Liv Jeddah when he won and he broke down in tears on the green saying like, "Oh, this never meant so much. My body was in such a bad place." I think I actually could have had you in the podcast around then because we were laughing about it at the time. Like this is a man who said that like everything's such an act to him now. If you follow Gina or Jenna or whatever his wife's name is, they just look like they're living the high life. Don't give a shit about golf anymore. But it just has like whatever it is, 100 or 200 million in the bank, and he's happy just to play around with that. Play with that. Play with Greg Norman.
Yeah, it was. I suppose it was similar to like you kind of cut out there. I heard what all you were saying and stuff, but it's similar to Neiman when he was like he won the Genesis and said, "Oh, this is the most heartwarming stage of my career," when he shook Tiger's hand. But then a few weeks later when he was with Liv and he won, he was saying, "Oh, this is one of the best wins of my career. I can't believe this," and stuff. Like, you know, it's all it's mad.
It's like watching like, oh God, it's well documented on this pod, but like the script that they are given by Greg Norman is unbelievable. Like you have stuff like Neiman and Koepka saying that they've never had a win like this when they won on the Live Tour. Taylor Gooch saying that the team event felt like a Ryder Cup event, even though he's never played a Ryder Cup. There's been some other like ridiculous statements, and like even 2 weeks ago, I never actually put this up on my Instagram, but Phil Mickelson tweeted out that the Saudi Aramco International Series for ladies and the men's event were both going to get the same payouts. So he was like raving about the gender equity and stuff like this. And then 10 minutes later, he deleted it because he got such a backlash of people saying, "Oh, you're really on about women's rights in Saudi Arabia." The one country where you can't get. But like, my point is, like, everything is just so scripted and scripted badly, really, really badly.
Yeah, and if you were gonna say, is there any boys now that you think could move on to live now? Is there any still sus fellas? Have you anyone on top of your head just from what you've been reading or just your own thoughts?
I don't think anybody's moving. Like,
yeah,
and I think it's a huge problem for Liv right now because I've heard other podcasts talk about this as well. But the last like 6 months, if we go back to before the first ever event last year in London, there was so much hype and talk every week. Oh, they're getting this player, they're getting that player. And they built up the suspense to the first event. And that was good to keep them in the dialogue. Whereas now over the last like 3 or 4 months, nobody's talking about them whatsoever.
Yeah, 100%.
It just seems like they're lost and they've hit a brick wall and they're looking forward to this first event. And then they're selling packages for like $10,000 or whatever it is to play with the high flyers or whoever. Yeah. And then Bubba Watson comes out and creates his own team with the range goats.
It's madness. Like, I suppose like one like person you could look at. I was just thinking, I haven't been listening to any podcasts on Liv. If I'm listening to a podcast and they start talking about Liv, I generally just skip it on 10 or 15 minutes because it doesn't really interest me that much. But like, if Cantlay had done better at majors, like some of the big dogs who moved, would he have gone? Is a thing. Like the fact he's been so poor at majors, I feel like if he had won one or he had proven himself a bit more, he might have gone. Because that was the chat was about Cantlay. So I'm gonna say this, like, you know, that type of thing where you've got the so-called lads who dream about going to like women's sleepovers and stuff, and you say that lads act sus and stuff on purpose just to get going to women's sleepovers, you know, that type of way. Like
this is you for tomorrow night.
Yeah, is Rory McIlroy and the boys in the locker room, the PGA, just saying, "Oh, who's sus here? Like, who is secretly, you know." Like it makes you question like any sleepover. Yeah, it makes you think any sleepovers. Is there a reverse thing? A fella pretending to be straight, coming over to my sleepovers for a little look, you know? So it's similar with the Liv gang. I'm sure Rory does be questioning what's going on in the showers, but yeah.
So, you think Patrick Cantley's in that locker room playing Happy Family, saying that he loves Jay Monaghan?
Yeah, he's a sussy boy. I think he is, but he has no emotion. So how can you read him? You know, he's you know, anyone but Cantley gang.
He is the human version of like ChatGPT or something. Like he was designed by Elon Musk. He's the lad responsible for the balloons floating over America.
If you ever go somewhere you have an issue and you get stuck on live chat and they're just giving you these polite, generous, nice replies, it's all just Patrick Cantlay speaking, and he trains them all in. They have a big training day once a year. It's like manual handling, and Patrick Cantlay is talking to you for the day about how to speak with no emotion. Like, you could be abusing these boys in the live chats, absolutely ripping them to shreds. They're saying, "Okay, sir, can you tell me more about your difficulty? Thank you." And stuff like
that. Patrick Cantley, sponsored by Goldman Sachs. Part of that, he has to be.
He is a sussy boy. He is a sussy boy. Yeah,
he has to be a bot for 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Oh God, we had a good laugh before this about Bubba Watson creating his own live team known as the Rage Goats. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on Twitter. Look up Bubba Watson Range Goats. It's one of the funniest things. And watch till the end. It's 15 seconds. First 10 seconds are boring. Watch it till the end. It's bloody brilliant.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, how scripted is that? Like, Bubba's obviously a quirky character and stuff, but it's awful to watch. It's really hard 15 seconds to watch, like, and
I got
as it's
sick of my
Valentine,
mouth by the end of it.
yeah, as it's Valentine's Day, like you're bringing up love and stuff like that, and like I've had a few bad 15 seconds, a few short 15 seconds, a few long 15 seconds, but that is worse, I think, than any of my than any of my sexual experiences. you know, um,
Yeah.
just keeping the
Oh
Desperations
God.
18 with the pod.
Oh,
But
I'm gonna have to tag this on Spotify as X-rated
yeah,
because you're giving insights into your sexual. Oh
yeah,
God, I'm never going
we've
to
got
move on
cancel.
so brief.
Yeah,
All right, okay, B match. All right, let's talk about this. We've talked about the RBC heritage. We've talked about the Waste Management Phoenix Open. We've talked about Patrick Cantley being a support bot. Let's talk about Genesis Invitational. Where Genesis Invitational Open, where Tiger Woods, the number 1,283 player in the world, will take part in this event. His first PGA Tour event outside of a major, I think, since like 2020. Could be wrong there.
yeah,
All right, so from the top 100 players in the world, it's going to be every single one of them except, every eligible PGA Tour member inside the top 100 of the world, except Aaron Wise, Maverick McNeely, Chris Kirk, and Ben Griffin. I'll briefly just spew here for a second. Please block your ears if you don't want shite coming into them. The cut line has been above par to Genesis Invitational every year over the last decade, and over 75% of approach shots come from beyond 150 yards. Last four winners of this event: Joaquin Neiman won a 60-1 shot with a scoreline of -19. Max Homa won a 60-1 with a scoreline of -12. Adam Scott won at -11 at 33-1, and JB Holmes won at 17 under at 150-1. I'm sorry for calling it -11 and -12. The course is 7,322 yards, a par 71. I'm going blue in the face here from talking too much. B-Maj, are you excited for this event?
I am Goose, and like I spent about half an hour reading up stuff like that, and sure I have it written down, and you've spat it all back to me. But sure that's what I'm dealing with here. Lack of communication today on both parts.
It's all
We
right.
both went missing for long periods, but yeah. Just to add to that,
Lad, show us the phone numbers you've written down for all the Tinder dates you're going to go on tomorrow.
yeah. I've what was I saying to you? Yeah, one thing I'll add to that is obviously like it's compared to Waste Management last week. Last week it was they want drama, they want crowd, they want beer, they everywhere. It's a drive, like it's just triple bogeys are in play with water and stuff like that. Whereas this isn't exactly like that. It's hard, and you have to kind of pull out your way across along the golf course and stuff, which is exactly a Rory McIlroy, I suppose, something that he would enjoy. I think he definitely, in this part of his career, he rathers these types of places, even though he can bomb it around. He definitely likes to think of himself as a thinker golfer as well, I think. But yeah, it's completely different than last week, and I think a lot of lads will relish the change. And we'll get a good. I know it'll frustrate a lot of lads, but there's another group who will really enjoy this type of test.
Yeah. I think like the thing that really stood out to me earlier was when I was researching for this, and I tweeted this out earlier, that let me just spew here for a second again. Most strokes gained per round at Riviera Country Club since 2018. Victor Hovland, Max Homa, Tony Finau, John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantley, Colin Morikawa, Roy McIlroy, Justin Thomas. And that's what, like 8 players. They're the best 8 players at Riviera Country Club over the last 5 years. And the thing about them all is they're ball strikers. They are the top players in the world. They are like, and that's the thing that we're going to expect this week. Now, granted that some of the previous winners have been like 40, 50, 60-1, but year over year, the top players in the world do perform the best.
Yeah, it's definitely a major correlation course, like the way it's played like that. It's not just driver and a wedge, which you have some weeks. But talking about Hovland there, you'd say that it's quite a course where you need to be good at scrambling and around the greens. But like, if you want to take another cheeky kind of theory about it, obviously he's a great ball striker, but treble bogey's not really in play this week, and that's what Hovland will have one, and then he'll have 6 or 7 birdies in a row. So like, I think that kind of suits him that there's no trebles in play. Like, he rarely has like 4 or 5 bogeys in a row, which is definitely in play in this course. But it's more so just that the trebles are out of play. It suits him because he is a treble bogey merchant. Like, he's flying, and next thing you see 7 on the scorecard, and you're like, oh my god, worst fella. But yeah, obviously Homa and Neiman were the most 2 recent winners, and they weren't short at all. Like, it was Homa 2021 and Neiman the next year, but they were definitely 50 to 1 plus. Like,
just when you're there and you're mentioning Victor Hovland, like, his last 2 starts here have been a T4 and a T5 at Riviera Country Club. So he's well suited to this. So if we're taking treble bogey, triple bogey out of play,
suits him. Yeah,
suits him. Yeah. Ball
like, if I could go to courses where trebles were out of play for me, like, I'd be some golfer. But unfortunately, Headford, you
wouldn't, lad. You'd end up making quads.
Yeah. We'll see if Hovland can find a quad somehow this week. If anyone can do it, it'll be him. Like, but yeah.
All right, B-Match. I'm not sure if you had a chance to get around to this. I was going to ask you to do 2 picks under 50 to 1 and 3 picks over 50 to 1.
Yeah, well, if you want to talk a bit more about the course first, like
oh yeah, far away.
There's boys who want to talk about, who will want to listen to it for their own kind of back, I suppose, purposes. Like, so, like, yeah, there's no bother. Like, obviously, I think it is, like, Neiman won it really well last year. Like it's definitely a course that, it's because there's so many bogeys in play. Like, it's a course where it's hard to lead from the front and stuff like that, and it is hard to hold on to a lead. And like, I remember last year, this is just kind of off memory, like, he had a few dodgy 5 and 6 footers, and it is a hard putting competition. Like, inside 10 feet, the putts are harder than usual, definitely, to make, just because the way the greens are and stuff like that. But but then with like that, and I think it's a classic Tiger Woods course, in the sense that you always hear Tiger talking about the Masters and stuff like that. If you just play well at the par 3s and the par 5s and at the courses he likes, and then you make hay par 3s and par 4s, and you make hay at the par 5s, you'll do well in this golf course. Like Homer, when he won, I think he was 11 under. He won at 12 under, but he was 11 under on the par 5s, which is that just sums it up. And also, if you're looking at 2021, where he won, like, Sam Burns, I know he wasn't a winner back then, but he had a 2-shot lead, and he actually did really well, because I watched it back, and he was actually against DJ in the final group, and I think turning, he was doing fine, and he got blessed on the 12th. He hit a bad drive or whatever, and it was going OB, and someone was obviously on him because they kicked it back in or something. I don't know how he wasn't gone, but he still bogeyed it, and then he bogeyed the 14th and 15th. Like, it's just like, you can get on a run of bogeys in the back 9, and then the pack just caught him. You know, they were lurking. But at the same time, I suppose it's a golf course where you can be aggressive and stuff like that. Like, I heard it on, I think it was Andy Lack. He didn't say this exactly, but he did say that, like, the Kikoya grass, the fairway and the rough, and it's actually, the rough doesn't be too bad. You can get a few bad lies like anywhere else, but it does be like 2 inches, which, like, a lot of us Irish guys, Valentine's Day, will say 2 inches is plenty. 2 inches is a lot. Like, you've got plenty to work with there. You can have no complaints. But over in the States, 2 inches is laughable. 2 inches laughable. So yeah, like, if you go into the urinals in Croke Park versus the Super Bowl last night, like, 2 inches in Croke are acceptable. 2 inches in the Super Bowl, and you're going into the cubicles, and you're not making conversation with anyone while you're taking your piss. You know. That's all I have to say on that. Like, you know.
Would you ever go live in the USA?
I think about it now, but I don't know if I could handle that part of life. That aspect of life would not suit me. In that department, I'm a short king.
Ah, man. Oh God. Okay,
We're
so
just sticking to the Valentine's Day theme here.
the
Desperation Day.
oh, you're falling in love with the chorus. And
Yeah,
how do we
yeah,
even get on to this?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking
Sorry.
missionary. I'm talking missionary. I'm talking when I'm on top and she's on the bottom.
Oh, it's a Valentine's special episode.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
God. Okay.
From there, will we just go like lads will be horny now? Will we go straight to the picks? Probably should get it over and done with.
All right, go on. Aroused on B match. Go on, take it away with the first one.
Yeah, so will we go like how many have you? Have you 5 as well or 4? I'm not sure how
Yeah,
much
I think
you
I
have
have
here.
5.
Yeah, so will we
5
go
good
one
ones.
each and
5 really good
yeah.
ones.
Do you want to give one and I'll see if we have the same fellas?
All
Do
right.
you want to say one and yeah.
I'm not sure if I have ever in my life bet this guy, and I absolutely
Okay.
despise him. I've spoken about it already, but Patrick Cantley at 25-1.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I've never bet him. I will never ever bet him at a major. I don't care how fit he is. I don't care if it's his own hallway that they're putting in. I will never bet him. But Patrick Cantley at 25-1. Here's like 1 or 2 reasons why he's T16, T25 missed cut in his last 3 starts since to start the year. But before that, he went win T7, T2. He's getting strokes off the tee in 6 consecutive starts. And I think what put the nail in the coffin for me was he's been the 6th best player here over the last 5 years. So he knows the course well. He's not playing as bad as his results might suggest, and he's not in the conversation at all. And at 25-1, thought was a very fair number on him.
Yeah, like one thing I'd say about Cantley is his par 5 scoring. Like I don't know, I went into it a few weeks ago. I was just interested in reading it up, and his par 5 scoring is actually, I think it's the best on tour the last 2 years. You can correct me on that, but I think it was like 4.31 is his average score on par 5s. And as you're saying, make hay on the par 5s here is key, and sure
Oh God,
that's kind of a tip in itself.
you're a
Uh,
genius, Yoda.
yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
That's
Is that is that what it
he's
was?
first. What did you think it was? His
I
score
said
is
4.31 or something like that. It was close.
4.41. That is
Uh,
unbelievable, B match.
yeah,
God, you're really getting the lads going here.
I'm on the zone. I'm in it. When I'm in the zone, I'm on it. I'm
You're
rarely on
dirty
it.
talking here.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, if you like, you don't want to have too many emotions going this place. It'd be quite frustrating. And he is the most emotionless lad on tour. So we'll say that you're tipping up Sussy Bacca then this week. I'm calling him the Sus King because Rory is questioning him in the dressing room.
If they let him go from that chatbot as day job, I think he could get it done this week.
Yeah, it's hard. Like he's a professional golfer. Like he has no need. He does not need a 9 to 5. But obviously, yeah.
I'm gonna tweet out later that me getting onto a chatbot asking is he going to win this week.
yeah. It'll biasly say yeah, or no. It'll give the most unbiased opinion ever. No opinion.
All right, B-Match, give me one pick on the 50-1.
I did not go for him at all, actually. Even though I liked all the plays, but I don't like him. So that's kind of I'm a heart. I had to stay with my heart. Like I thought Matt Fitz, if you're talking about scrambling, is so key this week because the greens are so hard and you have to place yourself in the right positions. Like I was the first fella to call Matt Fitz Matt Shits. Like I did not like him at all. Like, and Dermot can account for that. And he had a great win last year. And there was so many boys talking about him in the PGA and stuff like that. It was a perfect fit. I do think this week is a perfect fit. Another fella who's a great par 5 scorer that you wouldn't think. I think it's because he gets up and down. He gets so close. He can get close with his second shot. Like he doesn't have to make it, but because he's within 20 or 30 yards, he'll just get up and down from there, and that's how he's making the birdies on the par 5s. That's how, obviously, that's how I would guess that he's doing so well with it, because I know you can make eagles and boys love eagles, but if you're birdieing all the par fives, there's nothing I hate more than seeing fives on the scorecard when I'm on a fella. Like, so pull it up, Matt Fitz. Yeah, and also, did you see that thing about Matt Fitz? Listen, I don't know if this is true. I seen it on TikTok or
It's
somewhere
all right. You're more than free to spread rumors here.
where he's recorded like every single shot he's hit in the last something amount of years. What a freak of nature, like. But
was this Peter Finch you saw this by? Because I saw the exact same video, and Peter Finch claimed that he like does all of his shots in the range and everything.
I had range practice. Yeah,
I'm not sure about range, but like apparently since he's been in college or even before that, every single shot he has ever taken at any golf course, he has documented in a database somewhere on his laptop. He writes it down after the round, goes home, puts it up on his computer, so he can tell you back in 2017 on the sixth hole at Riviera, I missed it 2 yards to the right with a 6-iron. Like, outrageous what he like. He's so dedicated to being world number one. And there was another story I heard last year when he walked into his new agent or something on the 1st of January, walked in the door and they go, "What's your goals for the year?" And he goes, "Become world number one." That's all he said. He is like so driven. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
the year before. Sorry, not this year. The year before, when he won the major.
Well, like you could, he's won a major. Like there's like, and it's a major winners golf course. And just I was thinking about that, and he's just such a. You want to be someone who plots your way. Like you don't want perfection on this course, because you're not going to get, because it's just a very hard course. You want to be in the right position. Position over perfection is what Homa said when he won it. Like, and he's such a thinker that you'd imagine that that'll just suit him perfectly. You know, and he's another man. Like he is, he's another man that definitely has only 2 inches as well. So the rough he'll be very comfortable in that rough.
Precision over perfection, is that like your motto for tomorrow or something?
Position. Yeah.
Would you take position over perfection every day?
Yeah, I think I would.
Okay. God, you've really, really done your research here. All right, okay. I'll give you my second pick under 50 to 1.
Go for it.
I'll go back to the well, because he didn't let me down last week, but he kind of did, because I thought Sung Jae had a chance on Sunday and he just didn't get it going. But he was 11 under starting the day on Sunday. I think he was 4 shots off the lead, maybe 3, and he's only 24 years of age. It's the concerning thing about Sung Jae is like the good thing is he's 24 years old. The bad thing is he's 2 wins on tour, and he didn't win in 2022. Before that was the Honda and the Shriners. But the thing is, in the final round yesterday, he was 27th on approach, 8th in the round of green, which he's going to need again this week. Last year he was 12th the strokes gain around green, and in his last 5 starts, he's had 4 top 20s, including 4th, 8th, 13th, 18th. So I think Sung Jae, just at this course, around the green, drives it well, good long iron player. I like Sung Jae's chances a lot this week.
Yeah, I can agree with you, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you, because like I suppose he's done quite well in majors, I suppose, as well with those types of hard greens, which is what I'm really emphasizing. Like Masters, like you have to be quite creative around the greens. Like I've nothing then mentioned about him. He's not in my top 5, but he's definitely a play. He's gonna win soon. I'd like to think. I hope he does, because he's quite.
I hope he does this week.
Like, yeah. I think he's quite likable.
B-Match, give me your second one under 50 to 1.
My second one, I have 2 here, but I'm just going to go for the fact, and he's not a bet at all at this time. You back him in play, but I do think JT, Florida swing and all that, I think he could just out of nowhere on a Sunday go really hot and hurt you. I wouldn't. He's too short now at the start of the week, but like he could get 20s or something on Saturday. And I'd be interested in him there, like, but apart from that, I think you're looking at driving accuracy doesn't really matter from what I've kind of thought about it. Like I'd have no bother of Spieth just Spieth just took out his driver every single hole and just smashed it about the place. If there's no trebles in play, like, spank it around Spathy whatever way you want. And yeah, I think his putting, his creativity around the greens and stuff, even though he putted awfully
Who's
on
this?
Sunday, Spieth.
Oh yeah,
he would be my pick from the start of the week to do my second one. Fitzy is my favorite, but he putted awfully on Sunday, so there's no way he can put that badly. Like, it was just watery stuff, you know. It was hard to watch, leaving them all short, and him trying to make it. He was trying to make a title charge, you know. So
he still shot 1 under.
Yeah, but sure, it was playing fairly easy. Like, did anyone shoot over par in the top?
Well, I'm looking here at the people who, God, like from the last 12 people or 13 people who were around strokes game putting with Spieth, only 2 of them shot under par. So
yeah, and I think there's one thing that you have to look about with Spieth. Like, obviously you can I know, did you ever look at the golf betting system, the average score they have over on that course? Like, you can't really take him into consideration because he had such a bad 2 or 3 years, so he seemed to be finishing terrible in those 3 years. But if you look at his last 2 years, or his start, like, he has a 4th and a 9th here in his early part of a career, and he was the last 2 years he's been 15th and 26th, so it's not the worst spot for him. So you never know. Like, he's a man who really wants to win soon, especially in these type of events, just to show to himself that he's ready for the majors and stuff. And it could be an okay spot for him because he has the creativity. He definitely has the eye for the course, which is key. So yeah.
All right, okay. Let's fire off here. Give me 1 or 2 bullet points on 3 picks over 50-1. We'll go 1 each here if you're ready for this. I'll start off
I'm ready. Yeah, born ready. Let's go.
All right, my number 1. I'm going for strokes gained skinniness. It's Keegan Bradley, 50-1. Has lost something like 20 pounds or something. He's inside top 26 for all 4 rounds at the Waste Management Phoenix Open for putting, except for 1 round, and he finished tied for 20th. His irons have been really good in his last 2 starts. He's gained 2.8 and 4 strokes on approach. He's 39th in driving distance, and from 175 to 200 yards, he's 71st in proximity. That's why I'm picking Keegan Bradley at 50.
Keegan Bradley, irons good. That's mad.
But he's turned the putter around a little bit.
Yeah, obviously, like, his belly was obviously taken away from his putting in some way, but he went hard on the diet pills, that fella. He was just taking laxatives. The only way he could lose that much weight.
He did a fill on it.
Yeah. Oh no, fair play to him. I wouldn't describe him as being in good nick now.
There's a few lads in our football team that could do something like that.
yeah, we won't name any names because just in case this Valentine special goes global, so we don't want to be calling too many boys out. But yeah, I don't think he looks well, to be honest. And John Ram, I've seen a quote about him the other day. Seen an interview, he was saying the difference between all the tees are back now and stuff compared to 10, 20 years ago, and we've got better clubs and better equipment. And he was like, the main difference is there's more athletes now in golf and there's more gym and stuff.
He's right.
But John, you're not an athlete. Come on. He's a powerful man, but he's not an athlete, like, you know.
All right, give me your first pick under 51.
Yeah, I'll just give you this one here. I can give you a longer one and then I'll give you a short one. But Wyndham Clark is one I'm going with.
Yes, okay, finally we match on one.
So he matches up. He didn't play last year. He was 8th in 2021. He was 17th in 2020, tied. And one thing that you're looking at, you don't want a fella. He's playing well, obviously 9th last week. I think maybe he was a bit out, but I thought he was around 9th. And one thing you don't want in this course is a fella getting thick. And this fella, his happy place is fishing on the rivers of Colorado. Can you think of a more boring, tedious thing to like than fishing? Like, this fella's going to have some temperament. He will not get thick on the greens. You know, I went fishing a few times and it's the biggest shit show ever. Like, if you catch a fish, it's great crack taking a picture with and throwing it on Facebook, on the Facebook
You've been
Facebook.
catching a lot of fish in your Tinder profile, lad.
Yeah, yeah. The Facebook, the Facebook. Do you ever see you just have a fish and it just you put on one of the Facebook things, the Facebook fish forums. It's like the. Do you ever see the one Rate My Rolly, where you put up one of your rollies on it, and then boys just abuse you in the comments saying, "Oh, you're an ugly bastard." There's no, it's just a pure abuse forum, like. But yeah, so that was my main thing. He's playing well. He plays well here. He likes it here. He's a cool customer, and form is so important in golf. So why not go for him at a huge price? I suppose. I know it's a hard field, but he's still a big price. So
no, I agree. And the thing I like about him as well is on Sunday at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, he was 11th on approach. He's 11th tee to green over the whole week, 8th on approach, 4th around the green. So he's striking it well. Around the green game, he's good. Loves fishing. He's a country bomber off the tee. And in his last 5 starts, he said 3 top 16s are better. So yeah, let's go with big windy. Okay.
Yeah. Nice to agree with you for once, Gooser. Do you want to give me your next fella or anything like that?
I'll give you my last one because we've agreed on that one.
Yeah.
What odds is your next two? Or even one? Just give me one, actually.
I'm just. He was 250 to 1.
Oh fuck! All right, okay. God, you're really keeping the horn going. You've had 2 or 3 Viagra's
here. You know who this fella is. There's only one. Spanker Simpson, that's all what I'll call him for now. You know who I'm on about.
All right, okay. I'll give it to you. Give it to me in 1 second. I'll give you mine. Patrick Rogers, the Rog Man, 150 to 1. Finished tight for 14th in Phoenix. After having a miscut at Farmers and a miscut at the Amex, he's 6T28 or better before the American Express in a row. In his last 5 starts here, he's gone miscut 12th, 30th, 15th, 26th. Good, decent course history, considering he's 150 to 1, and he's gained 3.7 strokes ball striking in Phoenix, along with 2 strokes gained putting. Yeah, that's right. So give me the Rog Man all day. And Patrick Rogers, 150 to 1. He's getting it done this week.
Yeah. So, and I suppose if you're is the definition of a podge to go with your Rog, like he's a bit of a hopeless case, to be honest. But I have a soft spot for him, and some week he will go good. He will turn good, and he actually, I know he doesn't like the greens and stuff around here, but I'm going with Sepp Straka again. The Spank Meister General. He spanks the ball, and like driving doesn't matter at all here, really. But if you look at him, and I know like he hates the green, like he loves Bermuda greens. I wouldn't say he hates him. He's just an awful putter, but like pretty sure Bubba has won here and stuff. Like bad putters win here. So it's not something that worries me. And he's the type of fella who can just pop up some week and pop up, like you see in Taylor last week. Like it's worth every so often having a play on these boys, because there's no form to them popping up. Like it's just he just arrives, and what I like is like he likes it when the courses are tough, like in his like the Honda and stuff. Like I think he was 10 under when he won it, or maybe he wasn't, but I thought he was. So like I thought he could, at a huge price, he'd be one to look at, but I probably won't even back him myself, to be honest. But yeah,
you can't make the case and not back them.
I suppose I will have to back him then. I'll have my euro on him, but we'll see how he goes.
He's distracted, lad.
He's a heartbreak. He's the heartbreak kid. He's worse than Shawn Michaels at this stage for me. But yeah. But also he is a double bogey merchant and a triple bogey merchant. He loses concentration. I've been saying this on the last time I did the rant. Like
I remember this.
Oh my God, the chap must have autism and everything, because he just loses. He'd be flying, and then he loses concentration in 3 putts from 5 feet, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Dirty bastard. He's another, like he could do with the diet pills that Keegan Bradley has, but I think he's got that big belly. It equals big power, so I'm all aboard him.
Hey, we might need him for the Royal Cup next year. Relax for a second.
Yeah, the way it's going. but
Um,
hopefully not. Like I
Here,
wouldn't
let
say
me
he'd
just
be a
help.
good team
Let
player.
me help make your case. Putting inside 10 feet, he's 19th on tour this season.
Clutch.
Par 5 score, and he's 94th. Not the best, but listen, he's 300 to 1 on Betfair.
Yeah,
That's
sure. Look,
sick.
like, what can someone complain about if they're backing a 300 to 1 shot? They want him to be a certainty, like, you know.
But he's 300 to 1. Like, this is the crazy thing. He's 300 to 1 on Betfair. He's missed his last 2 cuts. But before that, T21 and T10 in his previous 2 finishes, granted they were the century and the hero. Like,
yeah.
Isn't it? Like, the thing about Straka is before he finished second at the FedEx St. Jude, he had 6 missed cuts in a row.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like, he can literally just get hot at any stage.
And that was a decent enough field, like, you know. So yeah,
what a spot.
Yeah, he's as short as 175 in Boyles, like, or 150 in Ladbrokes or anything like that. But sure, take the 10, take the 300s. Don't be annoying me.
Oh, B-Mash, that's why you bring you on. Like, all this analysis.
Wait, 300s in Paddy and 10 places is like, what more could you want for a missed cut? Like, yeah, for a missed cut, like, yeah, he'll either win or miss the cut. I'm saying it now.
I wonder what odds he is for a top 40, but all right, okay, I can figure that out. All right, B-Match, listen, we're an hour 15 through this.
Yeah, hopefully, I'm gonna check now. Hopefully, Everton are beating the Pool.
I can tell you that they're not. It's halftime. Liverpool are 1-0 up.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Right, that's ruined my evening.
No, don't worry, nothing will ruin your evening. You have a big day tomorrow.
I've actually a big date with Dave Maguire now. Give him a shout out. Big fan of the Club Light course. Yeah, we're going for pints to watch this game. But I think my phone will be blowing up here because I haven't replied to him in about 2 hours. So I'd say I've missed the boat. But sure, look, I'll see how far I can get with him. Yeah, I'll feed him a few pints and see how far I get.
And tell him about South Straka this week. Tell him South Straka is going to win this week.
He knows. Yeah, the belly dancer Straka. Yeah.
All right, B-Match, listen, I'll get you out of here. Get you going for your points. Have a good evening. Yeah. Thanks again for joining on.
Call,
and, I'll chat to you again next week. All right.
You will. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.